This week's Torah portion is called Miketz, which in this context approximately means at the end. At the end of the years of Yosef's imprisonment, Pharaoh has a couple of dreams that will change Yosef's life. In last week's Torah portion, we learned that Yosef was thrown into prison on false allegations after his brothers sold him into slavery, and he eventually wound up in Egypt. In this week's Torah portion, Pharaoh is going to free Yosef from prison and set him up as the second most powerful man in the world. I proposed a controversial idea that Yosef's situation has key elements of parental alienation. In most cases of parental alienation, it is the other parent who is the alienator. In Yosef's situation, it is his brothers who alienate him from his father. Generally, in severe cases of parental alienation, the source is the alienating parent. However, they're not the only source for parental alienation. In fact, alienating parents oftentimes recruit others in their campaign of alienation. In some rare cases, the source of parental alienation can come from the children without input from either parent. We have learned that parental alienation is a psychological manipulation of children to alienate them against a previously loved parent for no valid reason. We've also learned that there are 8 signs of parental alienation. The first of these signs is a campaign of denigration against a previously loved parent. Clearly, Yosef and Israel have a loving parent-child bond with each other. However, each one seems to think that the other one might be dead. It's a common tactic in parental alienation for the manipulator to falsely claim that the targeted parent is either dead or has abandoned the child. Last week, we also discussed the breakdown in parent-child relationship between Yehuda and Yisrael. Yehuda's case of estrangement looks more like a typical case of parental alienation or contact refusal. The differentiating factor is whether or not Yehuda had reasonable justification to distance himself from his father. In this week's Torah portion, both Yosef and Yehuda are central figures. There seems to be a sense of urgency for these two to reconcile both with their father and with each other. It's as if the fate of the world relies upon the reconciliation of these two. Whether the condition is parental alienation or contact refusal or some other phenomenon, this week's Torah portion gives a powerful sense of hope of restoring relationships even in the most broken households. It starts with a change in Yehuda's heart, who reconciles with his father. This change of heart inspires his father to trust him, in essence, with his life and with the fate of his household. Israel entrusts custody of his son Benjamin to Yehuda on their journey to Egypt. If something were to happen to Benjamin, God forbid, then the grief could cause Israel to die, it could cause his household to go extinct, it could even cause the whole world to unravel like it did in the time of the flood. No matter how estranged a child is from his or her parent, there can be hope for a reconciliation of this broken relationship. However, mending a broken relationship between two brothers is another matter. Let's not forget that it was Yehuda's idea to sell his brother Yosef into slavery. Now, Yehuda must go down to Egypt, where he will find himself at the mercy of the same brother who he sold into slavery. Yosef forces his brothers into an impossible situation. He demands to take Benjamin as a slave. Benjamin is Yosef's only full brother. The others are half-brothers. Will his brothers abandon Benjamin as a slave in Egypt like they did to Yosef? This week's Torah portion leaves us on this cliffhanger. Next week's Torah portion is called Vayigash, and it will resolve this cliffhanger. Will any of the brothers take the lead to rescue Benjamin and the household and possibly the fate of the world?